Hello, Awakened Beauties. Finally, it's here. The truth to empower women to true inner beauty through healthy biology. And now, here's your hostess, Cassandra Keel, your organic beauty and CBD mentor, helping you stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back. Sponsored by EvokeBeauty.com.
Welcome to the Awaken Beauty podcast. This is Cassandra, your organic beauty, positive mind management, and endocannabinoid mentor. And today we're going to be talking about the agency of choice. That's right. So we all know that we are the thinker of our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. And that our outer world is basically a reflection of our inner world. And my passion is lit when I can connect with incredible women like you, our Awaken Beauty listeners, and creating a community where we can support each other as we explore and improve our inner world by observing both our emotional, our thought life, and our behavioral patterns, so we can literally rewire and master them and create a life of happiness and a life of fulfillment. And ever since I was a child, I dreamed of doing something big, so big, and being impactful through having an inspirational business that people would love being involved in, and where I get to create and inspire and design through beautiful inspirational products that would inspire other people to become the healthiest that they could become inside out. Now, all of us as young children were impacted by life experiences. I lost a brother to cancer at 16 and many other influences in my life. There's an inner drive in me that I always wanted to be the healthiest I could be to inspire others to do the same. And my dreams literally came true through my hard work, a mindset of never to stop learning and dreaming, because life's all about the journey, ladies, and using, yes, our agency of choice that creates this richer, deeper depth of each of our life's journeys, my life journey and your life journey. And as mankind has evolved from the reptilian to the mammal to the thinking brain, humans are the only thinking and problem-solving living beings on this earth. We're very complex. And I believe in order for us to be truly happy, feel fully whole, and fulfilled in our lives, we have to cultivate these three things. So hang with me. Number one, we make sure that our actions and our emotions and our goals are aligned with who we truly are. Number two, we cultivate by putting our own oxygen mask on with self-love, healing from all of our past painful triggers, and getting rid of our destructive patterns, and helping ourselves rewire ourselves as we build new and positive patterns. And number three, that we take charge of our mindset, our attitude, and our vision and outlook on life, so we can be fully present and fully conscious in our lives and for others. Far too often, we're not conscious with ourselves and we're not present with those that are in front of us. So happiness really is this state of mind. It lies in the way that you look at life with this pondering agency of choice. And we'll get into this episode. And this can be practiced, it can be influenced, it can be shaped, and it can be changed based on these three principles. Number one, our brain subconsciously has stored all the memories up to this very point in time. Number two, we are consciously shaped and influenced by our peers, the relationships we have, the education we had, our family, and our environment. And number 3, changing the way we look at things and engaging our analytical mind. That prefrontal cortex and the way we think is simply a habit that we can always change. And we can't just adopt a new mindset. It's not possible. Your logical thinking got you here. Your logical thinking isn't going to get you out of here. We have to change a habit, and we can't change it overnight. We have to practice at it over and over and over until our mind is trained and changed, and it's possible. So with all that said, today's episode is all about the agency of choice. Now, the first time I heard of this concept is actually through my hypnotherapy mentor and trainer. And it basically means this. It's about having the ability to make decisions, to make our own choices. And it's the ability to choose how we're going to behave and how we're going to think and how we're going to be able to feel. And basically, this models how we're going to be able to operate at any given time in our life. It's a gift. I truly see it as a gift. Our agency of choice is a gift, and it really is necessary. And it's an essential part of our journey here on earth, because agency means that we are the creator of our own experiences. Good or bad, ladies, we are the creators. So it comes up often in hypnotherapy sessions or when I'm with salon clients, and I hear them saying, I just wish that they would stop making a dumb decision. Let's say like it's your brother or your child, or subtly holding back from standing in and speaking your truth in fear of a response. We end up just kind of stepping aside and having these conversations with others around negativity and wishing that they would have made a different decisions. And our minds are always problem solving to some extent. That's natural. And some people may turn to prayer, which gives them a sense of control and helping them release tension when they see people, society, friends, family making a wrong decision. And I want to tell you a story on how pervasive agency can be on both how we need to stay focused on our own agency of choice and how we can spill it over into other parts of our lives, necessary or not. And so yesterday I had a mother that I was working with, and she was working through the distress in her soul about her son's poor decisions. And I asked her, what is it that you ask for spiritually or pray for when you are focusing on your son? And she said, I pray that he will stop finding excuses, wasting his time, wasting his money, and focus and be able to get the help that he needs to graduate and make a life for himself. She was so frustrated. And I hear this in a lot of parents with their children, or a lot of clients with a sister or a boss or whoever that is. Just imagine that person in your mind now. And so I asked her, well, do you believe in agency of choice? She's like, huh? What? Not that she hadn't heard of the word choice or agency before, but it wasn't like a regular part of any of our vocabulary. And I explained to her what I understood agency was. And that is that I believe in, and she agreed that yes, it sounded right, that all of us have the ability to choose for ourselves here on this earth how we're going to act and who we are going to be. Every moment is a decision on who we choose to be. And so when I pointed out to her that some of what she was praying for is to take away, it's actually to take away her son's agency, and maybe she's praying for the wrong thing. Maybe she should be mindful that he should be who he wants to be And he can make his choices and he can feel at peace with the outcomes that he has to weave through in life. Now, as parents, we always want to give them guidance, especially when they're young, under 16, under 18. It's our due responsibility to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to influence our children to make the right decision. But her son was 20 years old and he's in college and he's continued to make, I'm going to call it on the table, some poor decisions. And it's not our business or our responsibility to take control covertly of somebody's agency of choice. It's painful, but it's not our decision. We have to let ourselves off the hook when we feel like we're responsible or we have some kind of influence on others and the choices that they make. Now we can make suggestions. We can be there when they ask us for help. Those are absolute moments of sacred relationship where we help each other in life. It's critical. I'd not be anywhere I've been today without others helping me with my agency of choice, but it came down to my decision. And that was when it really struck me that a lot of people are not taught about the power of our choice, power of our agency. And we all know we have free will. But through the lens of how agency, which is attached between the conscious and subconscious mind, and this is where it gets really deep, is that we have moments of truth that we can decide. And that brings a whole new perspective, both scientifically and spiritually. So agency really is a universal law that basically says people can do whatever they want to do. No one can take away your agency. So agency doesn't mean people can do whatever they want and there are no consequences. There's always consequences. And sometimes there's consequences that are imposed upon us by governance or by our parents or spouses or other people in our lives. But there are also probably universal consequences. And there are certainly consequences eternally and spiritually to the certain decisions that we make, both positive and negative. So when I think about agency, what I love so much about this concept is that agency really means responsibility and accountability. And when we hear that, we kind of, I know I do, kind of shrink back into like my 16-year-old self, where I had to be responsible and accountable for my decisions and blah, blah, blah. And you hear that from the authority. But really, there's a really profound richness to the words responsibility and accountability. Because if we're living in our alignment, if we're living based on our values, these are righteous decisions that we make in our life. And the more we're aware and of our critical thinking, we are in our agency, and the more responsibility and accountability we truly have for the outcome of our lives. And that's incredible. That puts you back in the driver's seat in full control. So let's just use an example. Okay, I want you to think about homework. Now imagine that you're in school. Remember back when you were in school and you get a homework assignment. Okay, so some teachers or with some assignments, it will be very, very detailed. It might be that you need to write a paper. It needs to be 3 pages long. You need to use 12-point single-spaced font on all of your papers, and you need to include at least one reference showing that you did the research. And you need to have a thesis statement and 2 supporting points to back up your thesis and your conclusion. Very detailed. All of those markers, okay? So it's very, very specific like that. And somebody who writes a great paper, we might still say that that's a great paper. But think about the person who doesn't get that level of instruction, okay? And they're able to figure out and assess on their own the length, the number of resources that they needed, and how many supporting points, and that there should be a thesis paragraph as well as a strong summary conclusion. So, my question to you, whose paper is more impressive to you? Just think about it. Is it the one that figured it out on their own, or the one that put that together, that paper together based on their own critical thinking, their own decisions, and their own agency of choice, rather than the one that just did what they were told? Now, I have some very good friends, and this is known in the professional world, but it's called the 5 levels of delegation. And my good friend Peter taught me this when I was in my 20s. And I was just always amazed by this. And I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a misfit, I'm not in these systems for a reason. And the system is called the 5 levels of delegation. And I really appreciate it because I have applied it to when I've had staff at the salon. And the goal is to always get an individual to level 5. So I'm just going to read through 1 through 5. And with that same mindset of that school situation where somebody had every detail, everything that you had to do cleanly written out, and you just followed directions, to the one that analytically thought about it, ended up in the same place, but used their analytical mind to do so. So level 1 is when you're telling someone, basically think of like you're the boss, you're the CEO of a company, and you just hired an employee. They're young, they're vivacious, but they're smart and witty. And number 1 is they do exactly what you have asked them to do. Number 2, they research the topic, and you have them go look up all the information, and then you ask them to report back to you. Number 3, go research the topic, outline the options, and tell me what you think we should do. Number 4, make a decision and then tell me what you did. And level 5, make whatever decision you think is best. Tell me how you came to that conclusion. Come back to me and I'll trust, and we'll move forward on that conclusion. Now, that is the most autonomous place that you can be, a place that is working in efficiency and moving the ground game, because the owner and the boss trusts where that individual is. They trust their thinking capabilities, not that they come back and do it right, because things can always be agile and move. And at that 5th level, the boss of the owner or the project doesn't have to give any levels of detail. The person has advanced critical thinking skills that he or she can come back with a solution versus being at level 1, instructed at every level, having to handhold them, which feels more liberating to you, my dear. I think you know the answer to that. So I'm not asking or saying it's wrong to sometimes give specific instructions, like the school project or the task at work. But if you have to think about the assignment of life, coming to this earth to fulfill whatever your goals, your mission, your dreams are, and taking all the classes that we get as we go through the trials and have all of these up and down experiences, that's normal. The fact that we have agency makes it such a rich experience. It also makes it much harder at times in many ways. Things that go unexpected, things that we never thought our life would end up like this. But at the same time, we can look back and we have seen that we've made decisions, and right or wrong, we're always at the fork of the road with our agency of choice to move forward. And I'm sure you felt like this, as I'm a quick start and sometimes I get all jumbled in my brain. Have you ever felt like you just want someone to tell you what to do? And you say, I will do it. I'm just decision fatigue. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And when someone can't or doesn't tell you what to do, it's frustrating because you have to figure it out and you have to go and wrestle with it. And you have to become still and silent, and you have to not second guess yourself and trust your instincts, and you have to make mistakes along the way. And yet, that's where the most rich experience comes. from figuring it out and making mistakes. And then whatever happens after you make that mistake, it's the getting up and starting again and trying again another day, a different way. And all of those things are what really grows us, ladies. And it really develops our mind and our spirit deeper and deeper, which is, of course, the whole point of why we're here. So let's just talk for a minute about this bittersweet concept that other people in our lives have agency, and that this may or may not be directly affecting you or me, but this is the underlying message here, is that people in our life have an agency of choice. And this means that they are supposed to make their own choices, which means they are supposed to make their own mistakes. And we are simply the bystanders that are there to help them get up, consider giving them the right direction if we don't feel like they are able to come up with a solution, but we see that what's best for them, not controlling them because we want to make it easier for ourselves. Yeah, that's right. They make their own mistakes. What? They're supposed to do it wrong? Yes. Yes, especially for our kids. You know, it's like this goes for this radical acceptance in ourselves, in our kids, our employees, that sometimes we're just supposed to make the wrong choice. And if we go all the way back to the beginning of time, go back to Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden were commanded not to eat of the fruit of the tree of good and evil. And so we could say they shouldn't be eating of that fruit. And yet they did. They eat the fruit. And eating the fruit was choosing the wrong, and there were consequences, which was beginning of being kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and them then having the awareness that they made a wrong decision. And that was unfortunately the start of a progression of good and evil, right and wrong, and where the sneaky little deception crept in. And it's not a very linear, logical thing to reconcile in your mind, because the wickedness, hear me out. I sometimes wonder, like, God, what were you thinking when this whole thing broke loose? Because little did you know, thousands and thousands of years later, this would be a shit show down here on earth, and it has been. But the wickedness in high places will show up in our lives. But either way, it's our agency of choice to unravel our truth, get clear, make sense of it, and live out a life-giving frequency, staying present in our life, staying present with those in front of us to help them make the right choices in their own life to enrich each other so we can help others do the same. So from Adam and Eve to you, to me, the same goes with agency. When we make mistakes, we learn, we forgive, we understand, we have compassion, self-love for ourselves, and we responsibly move forward in light. So the question becomes, now what? When we let go of the focus on trying to control other people's agency, we free up a lot of space in our souls, ladies, a lot of space in our mind and ourselves. And we're able to focus and be clear on our own agency and what's right and true for us. Then we don't end up feeling like, can you just make a decision for me? I don't know what to do. You do know what to do. Who do you want to be? Who do I want to be? When in a relationship with another person, who's making this choice? Focus on your agency. You have choices to make right now, and you get to choose. And that's the beautiful part. I'm opening this up because it's a beautiful thing that we have choice and we can always make a new choice. There's more than one option about how you can think or how you can feel, and then how you behave in that given situation. Always. Your brain might think this is the only option, but you don't have to be a victim or hold this sacredness to making a decision. You make a decision, you move on, and you make another one. There's always at least a half a dozen, if not more, options available to us at any point in time. So step number one is just recognizing that the way you're feeling and you're thinking and behaving is not the only option. It's optional. So it's really easy to be our highest selves when everyone around us is behaving lovely. And they have this agency that they're just floating in, and it's wonderful. But sometimes it breaks down. But we always have to remember we have to go back to our own choices and leave their choices up to them. So, can you be that highest version of you when people in your life don't make the choices that you want them to make? When someone judges you, what will you choose? So when it comes down to these interactions and these relationships that we have with other people in our lives, I really love to bring in the concept around Byron Katie's work and using what she calls turnarounds. So basically, if my thought is, my coworker doesn't accept me the way I am, we turn it around and we look at it, pick it up. What way is that not true? And in what way can I turn that around and make it more about me and what I'm feeling and about who I'm choosing to be? So we might just play with this idea that if the thought is that my coworker doesn't accept me the way I am, I might try on this. I'm not accepting me the way I am. So in what way is that true? It's true because if I was completely accepting of me and the way I am, and my coworker didn't accept me the way I was, it simply wouldn't bother me. I would think they're confused. Maybe they're wrong about me. I'm amazing the way I am. And also, the other turnaround we use here is I don't accept my coworker, or maybe it's your mother-in-law. I don't expect the way she is or they are. They're confused. I'm amazing. I appreciate them and I accept that they don't accept me, but I'm okay with that. I get it. Because I love who I am and I always have the choice to become a better me. And maybe I learned from this situation, but I'm still okay with who I am. So those turnarounds, ladies, can be really powerful if you put focus back on you and your moment of agency of choice. See, there's all these different examples. So I love using these, like I said, examples to really just use our agency rather than put your agency on the shelf or default or trigger to what your natural brain will tell you to do, because it'll overtake you and you have to bring it back to the power of who you are truly. So let's finish off and talk something a little bit lighter, more positive, which is the plus side of all the good that we do have with our choice. The same agency is needed to feel proud. We wouldn't feel more confident and we wouldn't improve in the relationships that we have in our marriages or ourselves. We do what we say we would do when we feel good about our choice and we're moving in the right direction. It's because we have the choice either way that it's pretty cool that when we do it and we show up or other people serve us the way we need to be served because we all have needs, we all feeling good about our agency of choice. So there's just such richness to this. And without wrong, there's no right, and vice versa. And the mind always knows. So you always have decision. Agency is what makes us the creators of our own life experiences. It is not happening to you. You are shaping it all along the way with your agency, with you as an amazing gift in this life to yourself and to others. So there you have it. taking control of the thinking brain, letting go of the reptilian brain. That is for another episode. But thank you. I want to thank you for joining me today. You guys are awesome. I hope you have an amazing, beautiful rest of your day, evening, or week. And I will be back to talk to you soon. And make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the Awaken Beauty podcast so you never miss an episode about these kind of deep thoughts. And I will see you then, my dear. And if you have any questions about something you heard me talk about today on this podcast, anything at all, just go ahead and DM me on Instagram at Awaken Beauty HQ, or shoot me an email. And I'm here for you. So yeah, till next time, stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back. And thanks for joining me on the Awaken Beauty podcast. All my love, ladies.
Hello, Awaken Beauties. Thank you for joining Cassandra today. Were you inspired to bring your sexy back? Please like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Interested in high-quality natural products for your hair, skin, and wellness? Please visit evoquebeauty.com. Again, that's evoquebeauty.com. EVOQ beauty.com. Until next time, stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back.